Good evening, everyone. The hour of 5:30 p.m. having arrived, I will call to order this special meeting of the Planning Board. This meeting is being broadcast live on the City of Keene YouTube channel, and the video will be available for streaming on the city's website and is posted on the website by the end of the next business day, barring any technical difficulties. Anyone wishing to view a copy of the agenda and supporting materials will find it on the city website. To receive electronic copies of future agenda packets, please go to the homepage and subscribe to the city meetings email list. The public and other board members will be recognized to ask questions and make comments on the agenda item under discussion. After being recognized, all remarks are to be made through the chair. Will staff please conduct the roll?
Harold Farrington,
Here.
Roberta Mastrogiovanni,
Here.
Mayor Jay Khan,
Here.
Councillor Mike Remy,
Here.
Sarah Vizani,
Here.
Ryan Clancy,
Here.
Kenneth Cost,
Here.
Armando Rangel,
Here.
and for the alternate, Stefan Mayu, Randon Markelon, Tammy Adams, Michael Hafer.
Here. Here. Okay. Thank you, Ms. Brenner. Given that we have a voting space available, I will ask Mr. Hafer to participate in tonight's meeting as a voting member. And hopefully there'll be no ties, since that gives us an odd number. Good. All right. I would like to, before we move on to the next item, would like to note that given that this is a special meeting, there are no minutes available from the August 26th meeting. That will be handled at our regular next planning board meeting on September 29th. Okay. So first up is a boundary line adjustment. So first item on the agenda is PB-2025-16, a boundary line adjustment, 124 through 126 and 130 Eastern Ave. Applicant H.G. Johnson Real Estate, on behalf of owner Bishop 2024 Revocable Family Trust, proposes to transfer approximately .22 acres of land from the approximately .57 acre parcel at 130 Eastern Ave to the approximately .95 acre parcel at 124 to 126 Eastern Ave. TMP numbers 588-031-000 and 588-032-000. Both parcels are located in the low-density district. At this time, I'll invite the applicant to present. Oh, okay. Sorry about that. All right, so first order of business, sorry about that, guys. First order of business is completeness. So does staff have recommendation for completeness?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Evan Clements, planner. The applicant has requested an exemption from submitting separate proposed and existing conditions plans, as well as all technical reports. After reviewing each request, planning staff has made the preliminary determination that granting the requested exemptions would have no bearing on the merits of the application and recommend the board accept the application as complete.
Thank you, Mr. Clement. Any, well, let's get a motion on the table.
I'd like to present a motion to accept the application as complete.
Second.
Thank you, Councilor Remy. Any questions regarding the completeness of the application? Seeing none, we'll call a vote. All those in favor of accepting this as complete? Any opposed? All right. Application is complete. Thank you, Mr. Clement, for reminding me. Now I'll turn it over to you gentlemen.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm George Hansel from H.G. Johnson Real Estate, here representing the property owner of both parcels, Terry Bishop, who's to my left here, and happy to answer any questions for you. We have a pretty straightforward boundary line adjustment today. Basically, the property owner, Terry Bishop, owns both properties at 124, 126 Eastern Ave and 130 Eastern Ave. And he's looking to adjust the property line, and it would basically affect the rear portion of one of the parcels and add .22 acres from one parcel to another. No new development is being proposed at this time, but just to entertain your curiosity, the reason that we're before you tonight is the property owner's exploring putting in a ground-mounted solar array and wants the extra space on one piece of the properties that he owns to explore that further. As I said, both of these parcels have the same owner, and if the plan for the solar field moves forward, I know you're not reviewing that tonight, but it would have to comply with the city's regulations as it would relate to that kind of development, so setbacks, everything like that. Just to orient you, we have Eastern Ave right here, both parcels are right next to each other, and again, the part of the parcel in question that would be moved from one to another is in the rear portion of the lot, not on the front edge or anything like that. There is some wetlands that have been delineated on this plan. They are pretty much in the opposite section of the area that the boundary line is going to be adjusted, so we don't see that as really affecting it at all. As far as section 20.2.1 regarding the zoning district dimensional requirements, this adjustment is not going to create a non-compliant lot. This is after this, before the adjustment, the lots are complying. After the adjustment, the lots will be complying. Section 20.2.2 regarding the character of the land. The only kind of character of the land issue that could really be contemplated or thought about is that wetlands issue, but because it's on the other side of one of the lots and not really affected, we don't feel that it's really applicable here. 20.2.3 regarding the scattered or premature development. Scattered or premature development really has to do with making sure that there's adequate infrastructure for a subdivision where you're building a bunch of houses and stuff like that. Nothing's being proposed here. Both of these lots are served by city water and sewer and Eversource electrical service, so we don't see any sort of issues having to do with that. Regarding the preservation of existing features, none of the features are going to change as a result of this boundary line adjustment change. There's no new development being proposed. It is not in a special flood zone or area, as we've looked that up. And regarding 20.2.7, fire protection and water supply, city water service, but nothing as part of this application would have to do with fire protection or utilities required for that. And then finally, utilities, once again, it has city utilities, but this application really won't affect that too much. Other than that, I think this is a pretty straightforward request. I'd give the applicant, Terry, an opportunity to just say anything if he wants to, but I'm pretty much done.
I expect to put out about 750,000 square feet of kilowatt hours of electricity into the power grid that we all share. And, I've been waiting to hear about this new high-efficiency chip. Looking into that strong, which will give me many more kilowatt hours to serve the power grid.
Thank you. We're happy to answer any questions you have
Sure.
for us.
Board members have questions for the applicant? I don't see any questions, so thank you very much.
Thank you.
At this time, I would ask staff to see if they would provide some comments.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The subject parcels are located on the east side of Eastern Ave in southeastern Keene, approximately 1,700 feet from the Marlborough Street intersection to the south and 350 feet from the Bellevue intersection to the north. The property at 124-126 Eastern contains an existing 3-unit multifamily building, an existing single-family building, carport, shed, and associated site improvements. There is also a stream that runs along the northwest corner of the parcel and under Eastern Ave. And then the property at 130 contains an existing single-family building, detached garage, shed, and associated site improvements. As the applicant explained, the purpose is to transfer .22 acres of land from 130 Eastern Ave to 124-126 Eastern, with no development proposed at this time as part of this application. So the parcel at 130 Eastern Ave is .57 acres in size, and 124-126 Eastern is .99 acres. Following the transfer of land, both lots will still continue to comply with all zoning dimensional requirements for the low-density district. And the ending parcel size for after the transfer will leave 124-126 at 1.21 acres in size and 130 Eastern at .34 acres in size. As the applicant explained, the character of the land for the subdivision is described as gently sloping towards Eastern Ave with a low point located in the northern edge of 124-126, where that stream is located. A portion of the stream is located on the corner of the parcel itself and has been delineated by a licensed wetland scientist, and the 30-foot wetland buffer is shown on the plan. This standard appears to be met. In regards to scattered or premature development, both parcels are existing developed residential uses with access to city water and sewer. This standard has been met. For preservation of existing features, there are no impacts to existing site features as no additional development is proposed, so that standard has been met. For monumentation, the submitted plan shows that boundaries will be marked using a 5/8-inch capped rebar posts that will be set in all corners. And there's a condition of approval related to the inspection of that lot monumentation that is suggestion in the motion language. Special flood hazard area, that standard is not applicable as neither parcels are in a special flood hazard area. For fire protection, water supply, and utilities, these standards are also not applicable as everything is fully developed with no additional development proposed. In regards to the motion, the conditions of approval are our standard set of conditions, including owner's signature being on the plan, submittal of 2 Mylar copies of the plan. We actually have signed paper copies right now. Submittal of $51 made out to the city of Keene to cover recording fees, and that lot monumentation inspection or a security in lieu as required. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman. I'd be happy to answer any questions at this time.
Thank you, Mr. Clements. Board members have questions for staff?
One more thing, Mr. Chairman, I apologize.
Sure.
Staff has made a preliminary determination that this is not a development of regional impact.
Thank you, Mr. Clement. Okay,
Mr. Chairman,
yes.
if I might.
Sure,
Just a
absolutely.
question
Mayor Tom?
before you ask the audience, and we need some room, and maybe you guys are not available. Just wanted to ask that, with the solar array as the intended use, is that going to be sufficient to power all of the properties that you own here, including the one next door?
I'm not using it for that. I'm selling it back to the grid.
Okay, you're not, okay. Guess that would cover that. Yeah,
I have.
because you own both properties, it just,
Yeah.
I was
I have
curious
29
why the lot line adjustment was necessary to accomplish your goal
I have 29 panels on my house. So
currently.
yeah. So I haven't paid no electric.
Can you turn on your microphone, please?
You have panels already on your property,
Yes, I have 29.
on the larger of the two properties?
Yes, yeah.
Okay. It's certainly not inconsistent with the rest of the neighborhood. I'm traveling there around this weekend.
Yeah.
And yeah, there are other properties that also have fairly large, significant solar arrays.
Yeah. One of the beauty parts of this whole plan is that you won't even see it from the street. It's up in the back, you won't see it. The parcel that is next to Audette there, that's just a storage building that they use. So there's nothing impacting anybody, so you won't even see it. The only way you'll be able to see it probably is from the sky. And it will be massive.
Thanks.
Okay, could I just see a show of hands? Is anyone in the audience here to comment on this project? I can't see everybody, but I don't see any hands. Oh, thank you, Mr. Hansel. Okay, seeing none, we'll move along. I will entertain a motion at this time.
I would like to move to approve PB-2024-15 as shown on the site plan identified as 429 Elm Street, Keene, prepared by H.G. Johnson Real Estate at a scale of 1 inch equals 15 feet 8 inches, dated July 8th, 2025, and in the application
Yeah,
materials.
you're reading the wrong one.
It's the first one prior, sorry, my bad. All right. Move to approve PB 2025-16 as shown on the plan identified as boundary light adjustment plan prepared by Envirospect Land Services, LLC, at a scale of 1 inch equals 20 feet, dated June 28, 2025, and last revised August 2025, with the following conditions. Precedent prior to final approval and signature of the plans by the planning board chair. Number 1, owner's signature appear on the proposed BLA plan. 2, submittal of 2 Mylar copies of the plan. 3, submittal of a check in the amount of $51 made out to the city of Keene to cover the recording fees. And 4, inspection of the lot monuments by the Public Works Director of their designee following their installation or submittal of a security in a form and amount acceptable to the Public Works Director to ensure that the monuments will be set.
Second.
Thank you, Councilor Remy. Councilor Remy.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would agree with staff on the lack of, it's not a regional impact project, though while it's out of the purview of what we're reviewing tonight, the future use is a cool use and kind of fun, but not something we're reviewing. I think just the simple boundary line adjustment to complying properties, I think this is a really straightforward, and I don't see any reason we should get in the way of somebody doing what they want with their land, so. Thank you.
Other comments?
Mr. Chair,
Yeah,
I just
Mayor
reiterate, I think this is consistent with other uses in the neighborhood and see no objection.
Okay. All right, no sense dragging it out. Let's call the vote on this one. All those in favor of the PB 2025-16 boundary line adjustment? Any opposed? All right. Boundary line adjustment is approved. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I guess you guys are up again. So next item on our agenda is a public hearing, PB-2025-15, Cottage Court Conditional Use Permit for a barn conversion at 429 Elm Street. Applicant H.G. Johnson Real Estate, on behalf of owner J.C.&C Rentals LLC, proposes to convert a barn into 2 dwelling units on the property at 429 Elm Street, TMP number 520-005-000, The parcel is approximately .48 acres and is located in the low-density district. All right. Does staff have a recommendation for completeness?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Evan Clements, planner. The applicant requests exemptions from submitting separate existing and proposed conditions plan, a grading plan, a lighting plan, landscaping plan, and all technical reports. Staff recommend that the board grant these exceptions and accept the application as complete.
Thank you. Any questions for staff regarding this? Okay. I'll entertain the motion then. Yes, Ms. Vazani?
I just want to check with staff that everyone's okay that I vote on this considering I'm a neighboring area, although I didn't really notice it, and certainly don't see it being an issue, but I want to check with everybody that I am probably 4 or 5 doors down from this. So if people need me to recuse myself, I certainly don't feel the need.
No. I don't see it necessary for that.
Excuse me, Mr. Chair. Would you say that you're within 200 feet of the parcel?
Notified.
Okay. Then I think you're,
I'm probably 206 feet then.
Okay. Okay, so that's fine. You can continue to participate. So at this time, I'd like to ask for a motion for completeness. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion regarding completeness? All right, let's call the vote. All those in favor of completeness for PB 2025-15? Any opposed? All right. Application is complete. At this time, I will invite the applicant to present.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. George Hansel, once again from H.D. Johnson Real Estate, and to my left is Joe Bagster. He's one of the property owners here with JCNC Rentals LLC. And this is an interesting proposal we have before you to take advantage of the Cottage Court overlay district and get a conditional use permit. In a lot of ways, this is sort of like this was a Cottage Court project that was built in the late 30s and is what's called a legal non-conforming use right now. And if we are granted this conditional use permit tonight, it will become a fully conforming use, which I think is a nice, not necessary, but a nice kind of benefit from approving this project tonight. So we're on Elm Street, just to orient you. This is an existing lot that has multiple single-family buildings on it. It has one here, and one here. And what we're requesting really is to convert an existing garage / barn, however you describe it, into 2 new apartments on the site. There's sufficient parking already on the site. The site has about 8 parking spots, which would allow for 2 more apartments to be added and have 1 spot per apartment on the entire lot, plus 2 extra ones. So that's nice. Let's see. So the overlay district, as you know, allows for single-family duplex, triplex uses in this district, which is the low-density district. And these single-family homes were built in the 30s. We're not really looking to do a whole lot to the outside here. This is really an interior fit-up to the barn to create these 2 new units. If you've driven past the site or you've seen it, there are, I think, 3 garage doors, overhead garage doors on the front. Those are going to be removed. Entrances, sort of traditional sized door entrances for the apartments and a storage area are going to be added. And then the dormers are going to be expanded to get a little more headroom on the 2nd floor. That's really what we're looking at here as far as exterior changes. But nothing on the site is really going to change. It has this kind of unusual 2 curb cuts and a loop sort of configuration. That's all going to stay. And as I mentioned, the parking spaces are going to remain the same. As far as the dwelling size, the standard allows for a maximum average size of 1,250 feet and a maximum building footprint of 900 square feet per unit. This project, both with the existing and the new proposed units, is going to have an average size of 900 square feet and an average footprint of 637 square feet. So both of those will fall below the maximum in the standard. Parking minimum, the standard requires minimum 1 parking space per unit, a maximum of 1 parking space per bedroom in the standard. There are 8 existing parking spots on the site. Those 8 spots will be shared between now 5 units and 9 total bedrooms. So again, this application, if approved, would fall into compliance with the standard. Building separation, all these buildings exist. We're not proposing any new buildings or expanding the footprint of any of the existing buildings. And so we will need to apply for a building permit after hopefully this approval, which will take care of any sort of life safety issues having to do with fire separation between the units. And our building department will be looking at that and making sure that everything is up to code. The existing driveways we plan to keep, so no modifications to the driveways. There are no internal roads being proposed, so that's not really applicable. And as far as screening, we're not planning to change anything really on the exterior of the buildings. So screening doesn't really seem to apply in this case. The architectural guidelines, standard 17.5.4, as I mentioned before, minimal exterior changes. We believe that just the replacing of the garage doors and the changing out of the windows to more modern, energy-efficient windows is not going to be a substantial change or really very much noticed at all. And it's really the intention of the property owners, because they own this property with all these buildings on it. They want to keep it consistent. So I think any tweaks or modifications that they make, they're going to be looking at the other buildings on the parcel, and they want it to seem like one cohesive place for the residents there. And just as a final note, well, first of all, I noticed tonight that in my application, towards the end of my letter, I said that it was going to add 4 additional units. That's a typo. It should be 2. And I want everybody to know that that wasn't intentional. It was just a typo, so I apologize for that. And then, while not directly related to the application, just more as a general comment about these cottage court applications that you're seeing and the applicants that are coming before you and asking for this. We all know there's a housing crisis in the city, and Joe and Cheryl are sort of, they've been longtime landlords, but they're getting into like the development game a little bit with this project. And working with them has been great, but I just want to impress upon you how important supporting these small, local, homegrown developers is really going to be to us adding units of housing in the city. Because I deal with both. I deal with big developers, big national developers, and I deal with smaller folks who are just kind of getting started in it. And if we want to consistently add housing units and find creative solutions on a small scale that meet our neighborhood needs and largely keep our neighborhoods the same that they are today, we need to support smaller developers like this. So if Joe wants to say anything about his project, he's welcome to. And I'd invite him to do that, but my part of the presentation is over for now.
I think George has certainly reiterated what I've been concerned about, just the shortage of housing in the city, and this is certainly an opportunity to help meet the goal of having enough units for the number of residents that are here.
And we're available for any questions, Mr. Chairman.
All right, great. Thank you. Board members have questions for the applicant? Ms. Mastrogiovanni?
Just a quick question, only because I used to have a general manager that lived in the cottage in the middle there, and I used to visit her quite often. I think the barn's a great idea to convert that. It's perfect for that. The only thing that I noticed coming in and out of that property was the driveway was always blocked by all the tenants. Like they would park in that driveway, where there is room in the back for parking. I always seem to get stuck and have to ask the neighbors to let me out. So I see in this picture that seems to be similar to what I remember it as. But I think if there's a parking lot in the back, that should obviously resolve that issue. But that was just a personal experience I had with that property. But I think the barn conversion is a great idea. And the whole cottage court for that little development is perfect. Like you said, was a cottage court before we even had cottage court. So I think it's a good idea.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, one of the things that I've seen on another project that I worked on that was similar, had existing buildings and stuff, and then you get in and you do some development. It's a good opportunity to restripe, to sort of take a look at where people are parking and make it a little more organized. So the owners may just well do that during this work.
Thanks. I just threw that out more as a suggestion.
Thank you.
Mayor Khan?
Yeah, thank you, Chairman. So is this lot layout now different from the existing conditions, like the horseshoe drive?
No, that's existing today, and that's going to remain. So really, the only difference is going to be adding four-season finished space to the garage area.
Mr. Clancy?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Could you just, from the pictures and stuff, I'm sure it's in compliance, but that front unit, what's the square footage of that one, and are the bedroom and bathroom numbers that you gave us accurate?
The front unit,
The one on the road,
the one on the
single
road.
family? Well, I guess they're all single family.
This one. I don't have the tax card in front of me,
Okay.
unfortunately, but, these are I did those calculations at one point, and the average comes out to about 900 square feet per unit. Yeah, per unit, and then 600-something square feet, or footprint per unit.
So I just have a quick, more for curiosity, but, so you'll need to add bathrooms to the barn? And city water and sewer, so you got that figured out?
The site is currently served by city water and sewer right here. And so we're sort of looking right now as whether to extend the existing service or replace it. But that'll be decided as part of the building permit process.
Okay, great. Mayor Khan?
Yes, thank you. So one other observation, each unit will have its own staircase, looks like.
Each unit will have its own unique entry as required by the building code.
Guess I'm looking,
So probably the best way to look at it is on page 22. The three doorways in the front.
Yep.
One of those doorways is going to be to a common area, laundry, storage. The one in the middle is going to go upstairs, so that'll be the unique entry for the upstairs apartment. And the one on the left is the exclusive entry for the downstairs apartment.
that explanation helped me understand the drawings, thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
So I'm going to ask staff to provide comments, if they would be so kind.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Evan Clements, planner. The subject parcel is an existing .48 acre lot located on the eastern side of Elm Street, directly across the street from Fuller Elementary School, and about 333 feet from the Timber Lane Drive intersection. The parcel contains an three existing detached single-family residences, a shed, a barn, and associated site improvements, including a U-shaped gravel driveway with 2 street access connections. The purpose of this application is to convert the existing approximately 1,120 square foot barn into a duplex with a 2-bed, 1-bath unit and a 1-bed, 1-bath unit. This will increase the total count of residential units on the property to 5. The property contains 8 parking spaces, and only 5 parking spaces are required for this project. There's no proposed alteration to the site besides the barn conversion, and this project does not meet the threshold for major site plan review. In regards to regional impact, after reviewing the application, staff has made a preliminary evaluation that the proposed duplex does not appear to have the potential for regional impact. The board will need to make a final determination on that. The duplex is an allowed development type, according to the table in the Cottage Court application ordinance, in low density. Let's see. The 3 existing detached single-family units were constructed between 1936 and 1940. The existing development of the site is considered legal nonconforming, as the applicant explained, as multiple principal uses are not normally allowed on a lot in a residential zoning district. Approval of the Cottage Court conditional use permit will bring the property into conformance with the city's zoning regulations in terms of allowed uses. All requirements appear to be met. For dwelling unit size, the standard requires a maximum average of 1,250 square feet gross floor area and a maximum building footprint of 900 square feet per unit. The proposed project will result in an average ground floor area of 900 square feet per unit with 5 dwelling units. The total building footprint of all existing buildings is approximately 3,185 square feet, with an average building footprint size of 637 square feet per unit. Each building footprint appears to be less than the required 900 square feet. This standard has been met. Parking standard requires a minimum of 1 parking space per unit and a maximum of 1 parking space per bedroom. Each unit within the property has access to 1 of the 8 existing parking spaces on site. This standard has been met. Building separation, all buildings already exist. Conversion of the barn to a duplex will require a building permit application that meets all applicable building, fire, and life safety codes. This standard has been met. For driveways, the property contains an existing driveway that appears to be at least 20 feet wide to accommodate vehicular traffic to parking areas. This standard appears to be met. Internal roads, there's no internal roads. That standard does not apply. In regards to screening, standard states either a 6-foot-tall fence or a landscape buffer is required for screening if the proposed building type, not density, is more intense than the adjacent building type. The proposed conversion of an existing barn to a duplex with no significant changes to the overall site does not appear to constitute a more intense building type to the surrounding properties. Staff believes that this standard does not apply. Architectural guidelines, I'm not going to say anything. I think the applicant clearly articulated the intent to maintain a New England vernacular that already exists in the site and the surrounding area. The board, I would recommend having your own deliberation on that, but it does appear to be the clear intent of this application to maintain the existing character. The only other thing I have is the suggested approval motion, which is going to be very lean, with the owner's signature appearing on the site plan and submittal of 5 paper copies and 1 digital copy of the final site plan. That's all I have. I'm happy to answer any questions at this time.
Thank you, Mr. Clemens. Questions for staff? Okay. No, okay, sorry. Thought you were giving me a little fake there. So I'll ask also for this application, anyone in the audience here to comment on this application? Please raise your hand. Seeing none, we will move on to the deliberation, which we will start with a motion.
Okay, I would like to move to approve PB-2024-15 as shown on the site plan identified as 429 Elm Street, Keene, prepared by H.G. Johnson Real Estate at a scale of 1 equals 15 feet 8 inches, dated July 8th, 2025, and in the application materials received July 9th, 2025, and August 4th, 2025, with the following conditions. 1, prior to final approval and signature of the plans by the planning board chair, the following conditions shall be met. A, owner's signature appears on the site plan, and B, submittal of 5 paper copies and 1 digital copy of the site plan.
Second.
Thank you, Counselor Remy. Counselor Remy.
Thank you. I don't think this qualifies for regional impact. I agree with staff's assessment. This looks very similar to the existing property. They're not looking to change much, so I think from an architectural perspective, it fits well. As far as the rest of the buildings are being existing condition, they're not looking to do a bunch of construction. As far as the square footage that they're dealing with, it's all existing. It's just a better use, and we get a little bit of housing out of it. So I think it's a great application overall, and yeah, makes sense to me.
Thank you. Ms. Fasani?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I want to echo that from Councilor Remy. I agree with there being no regional impact. I think that being in the neighborhood, it makes sense to have these additional units available. It's within walking distance to downtown. It's a great area to have those additional units. I appreciate them keeping within the New England feel, as we said. I think that will happen. Nobody wants a strange-looking barn in their backyard. And yeah, I think that there's no reason to move this Burgess along. Sounds good to me.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman?
Yep, Mayor Khan?
Thank you. It's probably a question to staff, as far as the use goes, I don't see any objection. I think this question about maintaining a vernacular look or something that resembles the streetscape look for the back units, I think that's going to be tough, Joe, in that the existing facade is hard to imagine the final look. And so I just wonder, is there some process by which the staff would be reviewing a final plan that shows the intended finish, so that look has some kind of review post-approval?
So this is sort of a weird nexus between a commercial sort of site plan with a visual architectural analysis and what is essentially a collection of single-family and two-family structures. So the cottage court conditional use permit gives some sort of guidelines on architectural appearance, but isn't necessarily, we're not going to hold up, we're not going to compare this duplex to the planning board's architectural and visual appearance standards, because this isn't a major site plan review and it doesn't meet the threshold for that. So it's sort of, it's almost like in the same way that we wouldn't do an architectural review for a standalone duplex on a lot. We're not really reviewing that. That's not the most articulate way I can put it. But my understanding of the applicant is trying to do what he needs to do to turn this barn into a habitable duplex without tearing it down and dramatically changing the facade materials and the structure itself. We don't anticipate a significant alteration of the structure. So to answer your question, Mr. Mayor, if you wanted to place a condition related to the final visual appearance, that would be most likely too subjective for staff to make a determination on. And then We also don't have a clear set of regulations on which to compare that final product to. An option would be to require architectural, like, elevations and renderings of the final barn, which would increase time and cost for the applicant, and would probably also require us to continue the application to another meeting to give them time to put that together.
I appreciate that explanation. And the short answer is no.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Other questions for staff? Oh, I'm sorry, we're past that, but any other comments regarding the motion? So why don't we just call the vote on this? So all those in favor of approval of PB 2025-15? Any opposed? Conditional use permit is approved. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Good luck. Okay. All right, next on our agenda is a continuation of the public hearing or deliberation for PB-2024-20, earth excavation permit, major amendment, and hillside protection conditional use permit, gravel pit at 21 and 57 Route 9. Applicant Granite Engineering LLC, on behalf of owner G2 Holdings LLC, proposes to expand the existing gravel pit located at 21 and 57 Route 9, TMP numbers 215-007-000 and 215-008-000. A hillside protection CUP is requested for impacts to steep slopes. Waivers are requested from sections 25.3.1.d, 25.3.6, and 25.3.13 of the Land Development Code related to the 250-foot surface water resource setback, toxic or acid-forming materials, and the 5-acre excavation maximum area. The parcels are combined approximately 109.1 acres in size and are located in the rural district.
Chairman, I object. Point of order. At this board's last meeting on August 25th, at the 2-hour and 9-minute mark, the chair expressly closed the public hearing on this application and emphasized the closing by hitting the gavel. Okay, the notice for this meeting was exactly that. Both I spoke with the planning staff.
Can you turn on your microphone, please?
Okay, sure. I'll start from the beginning. Okay. I object. A point of order. Okay, at this board's last meeting. Point of order? Are we taking comments from the public at this point? This is not a comment, sir. This is a point of order. The public hearing on this was closed at the last meeting, at the 2-hour and 9-minute mark, okay? And the notice for this meeting,
Yeah,
Speaking before, this is for the board to determine. If he has issues with what you do, he can appeal it like anybody else.
well, I'm making a point of order, and this is a bait and switch. Both my attorney and I spoke with the planning staff. They assured me that this was a meeting, not a public hearing. Okay, so
Not
if
a
you
public
guys,
hearing.
endorse bait and switch, that's your prerogative.
Mr. Chair?
Ms.
Yeah,
Brenner?
so as staff, we just wanted to remind you, so this is not a public hearing, we're not taking public comment tonight. And if you'd like to call a short recess, that's up to you. Yeah, that's all I wanted.
Yeah, I don't think we need a recess.
Okay.
No, it's fine. No, I think I stated when we started that the public hearing was closed at the last meeting, and we're continuing the deliberation. So that's where we are right now, and I would like to start the deliberation with a motion. Ms. Master Giovanni?
In terms of just opening up.
Yeah, just read
Can I just ask who is voting here? This is deliberation. I'm assuming it's the 8 people that were here last week.
just read the whole thing.
This is not clarified for the record.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I wasn't, I was talking with Ms. Master Giovanni.
I was just asking if the chair could clarify who is voting at this deliberation since.
Yeah, we'll get to that. Thank you.
I would like to move to approve PB-2024-20 for an earth excavation permit, major amendment, and hillside conditional use permit as shown on the plan set identified as gravel and earth removable plan, GT Holdings LLC, prepared by Granite Engineering at varying scales on December 20th, 2024, and last revised on August 2022, 2025, with the following conditions. 1, prior to final approval and signature of the plans by the planning board chair, the following condition precedent shall be met. A, owner's signature shall appear on the title page and overview plan on sheet 1 of the plan set. B, submittal of 5 full-size paper copies and a digital copy of the final plan set in PDF-A format. C, submittal of security for sedimentation and erosion control, stormwater management, and reclamation of the first permit period of the work to be completed. D, the applicant or owner shall pay all outstanding third-party consultant fees. E, submittal of all required state and federal permits. The approval numbers for these permits shall be added to the cover sheet of the plan set. F, the requested waivers and a conditional use permit with results shall be added to the cover sheet. 2, subsequent to the final approval, the following conditions shall be met. A, erosion control, sedimentation control, and drainage management shall be installed before any site preparation and/or excavation work begins and shall be maintained in good working order during the excavation project. B, over the life of the excavation permit and any renewal thereof, the applicant shall provide monthly inspections by a qualified third-party licensed professional in the state of New Hampshire regarding erosion and sedimentation control, pH, and stormwater runoff. Reports for these inspections shall be submitted to the Community Development Department. C, over the life of the excavation permit and any renewal thereof, in accordance with Section 25.3.4.c of the LDC, the applicant shall monitor groundwater levels and surface water levels on a monthly basis to determine the extent of which there are any adverse impacts. 1, the applicant shall notify the Community Development Department within 24 hours of any adverse impacts on groundwater levels. And 2, the applicant shall implement the approved protocol for providing replacement water supplies for water supplies that are disrupted as a result of the excavation operations. D, in accordance with Section 25.3.3 of the LDC, a monitoring well shall be installed in the area of Period 1 in spring 2026 to confirm that the seasonal high water table conditions. E, in accordance with Section 25.3.3 of the LDC, seasonal high water level monitoring shall be completed in bedrock well BRW-09 prior to the commencement of work in permit period 8, and throughout the duration of work within this phase to confirm the revised grades are at least 6 feet above the water table. F, in accordance with Section 25.3.5.c of the LDC, ongoing monitoring of groundwater quality shall be conducted semi-annually throughout the term of the permit and any renewal thereof, and for a period of not less than 2 years following the cessation of the excavation activities and reclamation of the excavation site. G, 6 months prior to the commencement of work for the next permit period, the property owner shall submit a permit renewal application for review and approval of the planning board, sufficient security to cover the cost of sedimentation and erosion control, stormwater management, and reclamation for the next period of work to be completed. H, excavation activities shall occur between the hours of 7 a.m. and 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. I, the areas unreclaimed, inactive, and active excavation area shall not exceed 12 acres. J, the boundary between the excavation perimeter and the buffer area shall be clearly marked on the site for each permit period to avoid encroachment into the buffer. Buffer areas shall not be used to store stumps, boulders, earth materials, or other debris in accordance with Section 25.3.2 of the LDC. K, the boundary of approved setbacks from surface water resources within the excavation perimeter shall be clearly marked on the site to avoid encroachment. I, at the end of all excavation operations, the site shall be reclaimed using pollinator-friendly plantings and monitored in accordance with Section 25.4 of the Land Development Code.
Thank you. We get a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mayor Khan. Okay, next I would like to, since this has been a unique application with long drawn out over many meetings, I would like to understand from board members whether they feel that they have prepared and adequately to vote on this. So if they've either participated in the meetings or had a chance to go back and view the video of the meetings that they missed. So I'll start with you, Mr. Hafer.
Yes, I've been involved with many of the meetings and the site visit. I feel well prepared to vote this evening.
Thank you. Mr. Cost?
I believe I was at all the meetings and the site visit, and have been following along, so I'm prepared to vote.
Thank you. Councilor Remy?
Thank you. I missed one meeting in March, and I have watched the video of that. I got a little nervous when I jumped in, and it was a 3-hour video, but it was only the first 30 minutes for this particular piece.
Thank you. Ms. Mastrogiovanni?
I feel I'm prepared to vote on this issue. I did attend many of the meetings and read all the notes and watched videos of the ones I wasn't able to attend.
Mayor Khan?
Yes, Mr. Chair, I'm prepared to vote this evening.
Mr. Engel?
I'm also prepared to vote. I've been to all of the meetings. I was not able to go to the site visit, but I have attended the meetings.
Ms. Fasani?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yes, I am prepared to vote. I did review the meeting that I missed, the notes and the video of that meeting, and plus went back and read all of the other ones. I feel extremely prepared to vote.
Mr. Clancy?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I feel prepared and ready to vote on this matter tonight.
Were you able to catch up on meetings that you missed?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chair, that's 9 members. This board only has 8, and Mr. Huffer was already appointed as the alternate at the first hearing to sit for this particular hearing. You can't have 9 vote. He is the alternate. He replaced one of the board members who is now removed from voting. So that's an issue. This board does not have 9 members. It only has 8. So you
Board
can't
has
have
10
9.
members.
No, it's 9.
Was
By
9?
statute, and you're missing one of the 9. It's the
Yeah,
statute.
there's room for Mr. Hafer as an alternate.
But he has to be an alternate for a person. The person who he replaced at the March meeting cannot sit tonight. He replaced somebody.
We have
Had
a
more board members
relatively
vote than you have
permanent
on this
vacancy
board.
as
This
a,
board has 8 board members. He replaced one of those 8, so only 8 can vote. You can't have 9 when you only have an 8-member board at this time. You're allowed by statute to have 9, but you've never appointed your 9th board member. You may only have 8 vote because this board is only an 8-member vote. When you appointed Mr. Huffer in March.
Point of order,
it was
Mr. Chair.
For all matters.
yeah,
I believe we've asked for the audience to
I am
let
not
us
the
deliberate.
audience, I'm the applicant, and I have to make my objections, because this board is going to vote with someone who's 9 members, when there's only 8 members of the board. Why not ask people from the street to vote? It's an 8-member board. You have counsel here, she can weigh
Yep.
in.
Ms. Brenner?
Mr. Chair, I actually do believe that the applicant has a point. And because Mr. Hafer has been sitting on this matter from the beginning and has been at every meeting, he should continue to be voting on this matter. So I would just advise that you ask one of the regular members here tonight to step down and have Mr. Hafer take that spot for this vote.
Okay. All right, so I'll look for a volunteer, otherwise I will name someone.
I think it should be the member who's missed the most
Oh,
meetings.
excuse me.
Well, the applicant needs
Excuse
to
me.
get their objections on the record. You never let us talk, you never give us a chance to rebut. We must get our objections on the record. This is going on for 5 months now.
Yeah,
So the
would you-
objection is it should be the member who missed the most hearings.
If you
not just
continue to
a choice.
have
Okay.
outbursts, I'm going to have to ask you to be quiet or else be removed. Thank you. All right, no volunteers. Mr. Clancy, I'm sorry, but I'm going to have to ask you to not participate in this. Thank you. Okay. At this time, I just want to bring your attention to something that's in the packet, which are 4 additional proposed or possible conditions regarding this. Everyone have a copy of that? Okay. So why don't we just go through these one at a time, and we'll see if there's any appetite for including them in the motion. The first one would be a condition subsequent, and it's regarding an addition to the reclamation. It says the applicant shall plant native tree species. Well, you guys can read it. What I would need is for, if someone is interested, to make a motion to include this as a condition. Councilor Remy?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Can I suggest, in the interest of taking a bunch of votes, that we go through each of them and kind of figure out where the appetite is, and then we make one amendment at the end?
Okay. That's fine.
I mean, I generally like this one. I think that the interesting part is it looks like there's already a lot of tree cover, so I don't know they'd actually have to do much to comply. But I like that it covers where some of the concerns we've heard are, so that if something did happen and the tree cover was removed for some reason, that they would have to put it back.
Okay. Ms. Fasani?
I agree with that statement. I'd like to include that. I'm comfortable with that. I think that will solve some of the issue we heard.
Okay, so I'm getting a bunch of head nods on this one. All right. The second one was regarding traffic, has 2 parts, Part A and a Part B. Any comments regarding potentially including these as well? Mr. Mayor?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. As I stated previously, I think safety along here is most important. I think these traffic considerations are modest and achievable by the owner. I'm hoping to get to yes this evening, and but I think these would help me get there. I would note on item A, the current traffic study that we have detailed 74 trips to the site, to and from on a weekly basis. So granting item A as a 90 trip certainly is giving run-up room if somebody wanted to question whether that maximum of 90 trips is, what is the trigger, they might. But I think, anyway, it is giving, it's a generous statement. I think the second here, the site has increased in size from the original application of 10 acres. to 12. And I think we've been able to observe that this condition in the eastbound direction is of concern, as noted here, for sight distances and other traffic safety measures. So I think if we are seeking the guidance of New Hampshire DOT, if the applicant is seeking the guidance both for the updated driveway permit, for the additional acreage, and for the, to gain the best recommendations from the party responsible for the safety on that highway, which is NHDOT, that this is an important addition. And again, I don't think that this is putting any undue burden on the owner. I think this is an appropriate step.
Counselor Remy?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think I generally agree on A. For B, I don't know if requesting an updated driveway permit is what I would go for, as much as it would be submitting, just submitting notification to DOT that there's been a concern around the safety and the visibility around there and asking for their recommendations. It would trigger similar to what we've had on Route 9 and other parts of the town, like trigger potentially a safety study for the state and how they might make modifications to the road. But asking for an updated driveway permit, I don't know that they're, based on everything that they've said to us, and I watched the March meeting again, was the, that they're not necessarily expecting more traffic. So when we say that they're gonna expect more traffic, there's the same footprint for people to come in and pick up volume from. There's the same amount of space down there that there always has been, or that there has been in this operation. So I don't know that there's gonna be an increased traffic component. But if we have concerns about the current layout, I think it is appropriate to, hey, they can CC us on a letter that they send to New Hampshire DOT saying, there's been a concern here. Can you just please take a look for us and see if there's anything you can do? Because I think a sign that just says trucks entering on the eastbound side, around the corner could be helpful, right? And I know that they've done some signage, but making sure that's a state sign that stays there would be potentially helpful.
Yeah, so I agree with you with if there is a signage, getting it out of the guardrail and making it a little bit more explicit would be an improvement. But I guess I'm going to turn to staff. I think the driveway permit is something that there is an alteration to the plan. And so I need your guidance here.
Mr. Chair.
Ms. Brenner, sure.
Thank you. Yeah, so my understanding is that the New Hampshire Department of Transportation, which has jurisdiction over this road and the driveway permit, a condition of the driveway permit is that if the use expands or is enlarged, I'm trying to remember the exact triggers, but there are certain stipulations in the existing driveway permit where they would have to basically reapply just to make sure that it's still an adequate driveway. To be honest with you, I don't think that the DOT would necessarily require anything new as a result of that, but it could give them another opportunity to just look at the driveway access points and then let the applicant know if there's anything that they could do to help improve the safety. I think that's kind of what our thought was. But this is really, I understand your concerns about traffic and safety, and I think that DOT would be happy to provide suggestions. So this would just be an avenue to get those. But I think what Councilor Remy has proposed would also work fine. So it's really what you prefer. And I would also recommend, Mr. Chair, if you feel so inclined, to give the applicant an opportunity to weigh in response to some of these conditions, because I know they haven't seen all of them before tonight. So
Okay.
just a thought.
Ms. Fasani?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Is there a cost associated with the traffic B one? For staff, is the question. Is there an additional cost to the applicant associated? Is that an undue burden for the applicant? Or is it a burden in general? Subjective question, I suppose.
So I think for, Mr. Chair, may I
Yeah, please.
respond as well? Okay. So for B, this would really be, so are you talking about, A? The
I'm talking-
traffic?
Thank you for, no, I'm talking about the, applying to the DOT for an updated driveway permit compared to what Counselor Remy asked. Is one a cost, more costly than the other? Is one free of charge?
I think the path that Counselor Remy suggested would be, my understanding would be it wouldn't cost anything. I'm not sure what the driveway permit fee is. So,
Okay, thank you, that's helpful, thank you.
Counselor Remy?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I do prefer just the sending a letter, because honestly, applying for a driveway permit, the state of New Hampshire may just wave at it and say, you don't need to do anything, it's fine. If you say, hey, there's been a concern, they at least will take a look at it. It's two different paths, but I think the letter being one, free, and two, will actually trigger them to say, hey, this is what's going on, can you take a look, versus just a routine driveway permit.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree with you, Counselor Remy. I think the letter not only is, more to the point of the mayor's concern, but is also free.
Just real quick.
Ms.
So,
Fasani.
I just want to, thank you, Mr. Chair, I just want to check in, so we'll be adjusting the, Counselor Remy who writes up the adjusted conditions as we go, so should we keep notes on those?
Yep,
Okay.
yep, we will. Mr. Hafer?
Yes, let's zoom out a little bit. We have a motion on the table and we're.
Can you turn on your microphone, please?
We have a motion on the table and we're discussing potential optional conditions that the board may choose to add to that motion, but we're not.
That is
voting on
correct.
what it is now. So we're just getting sort of a feel of the board on these optional conditionals that we're reading about, I'm reading about for the first time this evening, right? We weren't, these are new, these things we haven't discussed these prior to this evening, I believe.
That's correct.
Okay. Thank you.
Although some of them are
Yeah, they've been.
kind of buried in
Yes.
the
Discussions and-
deliberations.
yeah.
And you'll see on the next couple are also kind of buried in the reports of the
Yeah.
city's consultants, Fieldstone and Sanborn.
Great, thanks. While I have the floor, I'll agree with Councilor Remy's approach on B. I do believe that our best bet would be to raise a safety, if the city council could raise a safety concern, if they heard from residents about concerns, and ask NHDOT to get involved at that point, but I'm not inclined to request, add a request for a driveway permit at this point.
If I may? Mr.
Yes.
Chairman. I think that it is important for the owner to initiate this correspondence. And relative to the driveway permit, what that just might enable is the justification for the department to make these kinds of recommendations. Yeah, I think that's what the intent here was, is to link this with a process that the department has in place, and to not create something different. So I think that's the intent here, is to say, yeah, I mean, there is an increased size in the operation. We know that. And we know that there's a driveway permit that was based on, something 3 years ago, and here's the reason that we want you to take a look at that and these specifics about what kind of clearing, what kind of site distances ought to be at this site, and the kind of recommended traffic safety. Yeah, so I think the motion is worded appropriately because it gives the Department of Transportation the rationale as to why they ought to look at this.
So, I'm sorry, could you clarify, you're asking for the updated driveway permit, or you're asking for a letter?
No, for the driveway permit.
Okay.
I don't know that the department has a basis to provide this kind of feedback without a regulation that they have. They have given approval to a 10-acre site. There's now a 12-acre site. And as such, we have a driveway that was permitted for the 10, doesn't need any kind of upgrade. And in that upgrade, give us your opinion on these other important issues that may mitigate the line of sight concerns that there are.
Ms. Visani?
Excuse me, point of order, section 2.1 of the board's rules of procedure states that the planning board is made up of 9 members, consistent with state law.
Mr. Manley, you don't have standing, but thank you.
For the record.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I am inclined, to get me to a yes vote, I am inclined to accept either one of those options. So I am, either way that's worded, I would like to see it in there, but either way that it's worded, I'm inclined, that helps me get there.
Okay. Okay. It's all right. Mr. Hafer?
In regards to the driveway permit, I understand the spirit of the concern. It just feels like, from a process standpoint, shouldn't this have been part of the original, the original process, for this original permit wouldn't that have, a traffic study, driveway permits, shouldn't that have been part of the original things we looked at? I guess I'm confused at it coming into play now.
Well, I think what the mayor said was the site is slightly larger now.
Right, we've known that from the beginning, so did we expressly not require a driveway permit or
No, the
traffic
driveway
study
was
earlier?
for the
We-
original site in
Right.
2022.
Sure. So I think, we've accepted the conditions. This, to me, feels challenging to add at the last minute as a conditional of approval.
Councilor Remy?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I tend to agree, and I think part of it for me is that it sounds like from what the staff has said that if they're, by the definition of the state, if they meet the requirements of having had a change of use, they have to apply for an updated permit anyway if there's something that triggers the state to require one. Us saying you have to, they don't have to unless they did something that requires the state to make them reapply. While, yes, if they expanded the use and the state law says that they need to, if they meet the criteria that the state laid out for a change that requires a reapplication, then yes, they have to apply with state law, but they already know that. They have a lot of state laws they have to comply with. I think sending a letter specific to the safety piece covers it without telling them they have to comply with state law, which they obviously have to comply with state law.
All right. Ms. Mastrogiovanni?
With regard to traffic and the proposal of a mitigation strategy of some kind, how do we keep count of the vehicles that could potentially, roll through? We're expecting more. So if that's the case, what would the mitigation strategy be by Public Works? And in fact, if there is an increase in traffic, which we might expect, then I fully think that the mayor's idea of having them apply to the state for an updated permit, driveway permit, whatever the case may be, I think the state really has to take a close look at that, because Route 9 is by far the most important artery into Keene. And it's always a busy artery. It's not wide enough and never has been. And to see 10-wheeler dump trucks rolling off into that pit, I just want to make sure it's safe, that's all. That's all I'm saying. So I'm just thinking that, you know, the mitigation strategy and the proper discussion with the state would just make sense for this project. That's just, I feel it's necessary.
Mr. Cost?
I guess, my question is, as of now, is there an increase in traffic? And everything I'm recalling is there's not. They're going to be having the same amount, or they're saying they're going to have the same amount of vehicles in and out as they have now, and it's just going to be spread over more years, but not more vehicles once this operates. Yeah.
Yeah, that's correct. That's the information in the application. Well, let's do a quick show of hands. Who, for letter versus permit?
So, just quickly, if this one's controversial on how we want to do it, we could break this one out as its own amendment, just to make it so it's clean and we don't have,
Okay.
we're not bumping a bunch of things together.
All right.
Real
I'm good
quick,
with that.
Mr. Chair, I would like to be able to get to a yes for the applicant, being that, like, so just want to make sure that we reiterate that this, in some way, shape, or form, I would like something included. Just want to make sure that there's, I'm saying that piece just to share that with you guys.
Yeah,
Yeah, I have a preference to my format for it, but either way, I would want one of those two in there. I just don't, yeah. So my suggestion is just that we vote on all the ones that we kind of are, I don't want to say unanimous because we haven't taken a poll, but there's not been any
Okay.
debate on, and then we do those all as one. And then any of the ones that we kind of aren't aligned on, we do those separately so that we can understand where we fall with those, if the board's,
Okay.
and I'm
Yeah,
not getting
so,
yelled at by the attorney.
At this point, why don't I ask the applicant for their comments on this?
Yeah, we're good.
No, Cody, you haven't opened the hearing back up, and I think that was the intention, not to open the
Well,
hearing, so.
Mr. Gordon is part of the applicant. I consider him to be.
Okay, I just want to make sure.
If he's
that
not,
on the record that
yeah.
this is not.
We're happy to,
We have no issue.
we're fine with both.
We have no issue with either. I think they're both providing the same requirement. I would even be willing to do both. I could send a letter with the application asking for their recommendation, and
Okay.
it doesn't matter to us,
All right.
I would say.
Thank you. That saves us some time, I think. All right, let's, we got a couple more to go through. The next one is a several part one regarding the monitoring vibrations during and after blasting. And I think a lot of the stuff was in the Fieldstone report, so I'm glad it's now potentially a condition. But I would like to hear board members' comments regarding their appetite for it. Mr. Clancy, I think you're out on this.
I'm not a voting member, but I'm still part of this. I'm not voting on this matter, but I'm still part of deliberation in this board, so, just like any
Okay.
alternate would be participating.
Okay, well,
So I-
proceed then.
Yeah, so from reviewing all the documents and hearing board's concerns last meeting, I thought it would be good to put in, I did this one and the next one that you're going to look through, just to cover the basis of some of the concerns that I heard from fellow board members, and just to make sure that we have accurate data when they start, if the water study comes back looking good in the spring, that we just have, tools in our toolbox and holding them accountable for the work that they're doing up there.
Okay.
And
Specific
not
to the
specifically in here,
vibration,
but
though?
just one, the first blast of when they start operation again, just to get a base for what's going on, and have a third party do it so that we're, making sure it's accurate and something to, have a leg to stand on if there are complaints.
Other opinions? Mr. Cost?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. After hearing people talking about concerns about foundations and cracks and other things, this whole series of conditions seem to me, would address that. As Mr. Clancy said, that we'd be taking a baseline, and then we'd be monitoring it through approved third-party consultants. So I think this goes a long way to maybe alleviating to us understanding what might be happening with the blasting. It's not my area of, I have very little understanding in this, but from what I've read, though, I think even with all of this, it would be still hard to, I'm sure there'd be arguments to say that someone's cracked foundation wasn't caused by the blasting, and how do you prove that? And so I think there'd be a whole lot of other issues going on with that. But I think this does at least let us set up a framework to monitor clearly what's going on, the best that we can do anyway. Thank you.
Councilor Remy?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. They all generally make sense to me. I would, again, not being my area of, commercial expertise, I would be very curious about the applicant's position on these, because if they're not opposed, then I think they're great. If there's something we need to talk about more, we just need to understand that.
Okay.
I think the position is that.
Sorry, green.
Did I turn it off?
Yeah.
As many on this board would like to get this over with, so would the applicant. So if this is what's required, we haven't seen this to today, we do think it's kind of a duplication. We do think that there is an expert report in your testimony, that in the package that has her testimony, that says, outside of, I think it's 2,000 feet, you're going to have no issues at all. No, it's a half a mile. But at any rate, so I think it's overkill. It's not necessary. But if it's what's going to get this board to get this application approved, the applicant will comply with it.
Yeah, and I think we're just, there was a lot of, I guess, agreements and understandings between applicant and the Fieldstone and Sanborn, which was incorporated in those back and forth letters or reports. So I think the notion was just to try to incorporate that into the actual record.
I'm not sure how much of that was on blasting, but I think the.
Well, it
the
was
piece-
definitely the whole area on blasting and seismograph. Yep.
The applicant will do their best to comply with it if the board
Okay.
thinks it needs to be a condition.
Mr. Chairman, if I might on this.
Yeah. Mayor Condon.
The question that I had was the 2 miles radius. And my concern there is, again, based on the information that we did receive, is it too far? And meaning the seismograph, if placed at a 2 mile radius away from the blasting area, is not going to feel the impact that something closer would.
Mr. Chair, it doesn't say that they'd all be at 2 miles, it's just within a 2 mile radius. So there would be, I'm assuming, varying distances. The way I read it is, it's not at 2 miles, it's within 2 miles, focusing on closest residences, wells, and other sensitive receptors. So not at 2 miles, but within.
Yeah, so I think your concern is covered there.
Okay.
I mean, you obviously still have your opinion, and we'll get to that, but the applicant seems to be
Yeah,
amenable.
amenable to it.
So,
My concern is that we do get to the closest properties.
Yeah, I think it's pretty
and,
clearly
you know,
stated
so
there. Yeah.
It is, and that's why I said it. Okay, thank you.
I guess we could discuss the liability insurance, but maybe I'll turn to the applicant at this point and see.
I had been reading those together.
This has become a public hearing. It's no longer.
This is a back and forth between the board and the applicant.
Yeah, but they're presenting new evidence. They're
No, they're not.
allowed to.
No, we're asking
provide
them question.
clarification within the existing document.
We're asking them questions.
To follow up with our position on the last condition, our concern on this condition is we just found out about it right before the meeting started. Conceptually, we don't have an issue with it, but, it's the blaster who carries insurance. We don't know if the applicant's even able to get that kind of insurance or what it would cost. We didn't have any heads up to look into it at all. And so our concern with this one is just that we'd be able to actually comply. Don't want to go through all this to have to be back and say we can't get the permit and move forward. So that's the main concern here. It's nothing we've looked at because it's really under the blaster's control. So.
Councilor Remy?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just for clarity on intent and the way I read this is I see the applicant shall maintain in full force. My understanding of or how I would interpret that is that whether that coverage is carried by their subcontractor or by them, they're maintaining that coverage because I'm sure they're covered by that insurance. And so I think it would be clean either way, the way I'm interpreting the motion. Is whether it's directly held by them or it's covering them, they're holding that insurance. I'd be curious on the legalese side if I'm okay on that, but that's how I'm.
Yeah, I would think so.
Yeah. So I think that covers what the concern was that was raised, whether it's held by the blaster or them.
Mr. Chair, may I? I
Ms.
would
Brenner?
just recommend, for clarity's sake, you could just say that in the motion, that either the applicant or their blaster shall hold insurance, and that way it's just
I was
clear.
gonna say that, but I didn't know if blaster was a technical term.
Yeah, to just say they're a subcontractor.
Yeah, that's good.
Ms. Fasani?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. One area I am an expert in, I would recommend that we keep it as the applicant shall maintain in full force the commercial general liability policy with $5 million with the city of Keene as an additional insured. You can also put in there that their subcontractors need to maintain, that you actually don't need to put that in there. The company that issues this $5 million policy will require them to prove the subcontractors also have insurance. You don't need them to do it because they own the property itself. So I would prefer that it goes in as the applicant specifically, not the blaster. That's the official term we're using.
Okay.
Just for the people in the control room, my microphone's dying. I've been using it too much. Figured to let them know before it actually goes.
Just, Mr. Chair, real quick, so that's not an uncommon thing to have a $5 million policy for a large operation like this. I see it all the time. Normally, it comes in the form of an umbrella policy sitting over everything to get the total liability to that level. So if somebody is doing it correctly, it shouldn't be an undue, it shouldn't be a financial burden or a huge ask of someone of this nature to get to that level. Just for feedback for the board.
Okay, getting a head nod from Mr. Gordon.
I'm good either way.
All right, can we take a stab at adding these conditions? I presume these will all be conditions subsequent.
Yeah, and I can take a stab at it. I'm just gonna skip what is currently under traffic B. I'm gonna skip that one and we can come back to that as a separate amendment.
Okay.
Understanding that we're not gonna take a vote until we voted on that as well, but process all the ones that we generally are head nodding around and then we can have a discussion on
Okay.
that last one.
But I just,
Actually, that said, with the applicant being okay with it, I'm okay either way.
yeah,
So
I would,
Okay.
given the
All right,
reaction, I think,
Just get them all in one vote,
let's,
leave it as is.
let's read it as is and.
As printed.
okay, yeah, I'm good with that. Oh, do you want to read them or you want me? I'm just trying to give you a break. All right, now let's see if I can keep track of my alphabet, because these are not in condition. So I would move to amend the motion to include further conditions. And I'm not gonna try to keep track of the letters, so the first one will start with M to follow up with what's above, but hopefully you guys can follow along from there. The applicant shall plant native tree species in reclaimed areas as necessary to mitigate the view of the excavation operation, cliff faces, and access roads visible from Route 9. N, if traffic impacts to Route 9 exceed the proposed conditions of a maximum of 90 trips per day or a maximum of 8 trips per peak hour as stated in the traffic memorandum dated February 18, 2022, a traffic management plan shall be required to evaluate and propose mitigation strategies. This plan and proposed mitigation strategies shall be subject to review and approval by the Public Works Director. O, due to the increase in size of the operation, the applicant shall apply for a new New Hampshire Department of Transportation to the New Hampshire Department of Transportation for an updated driveway permit and shall communicate back to the board through city staff any New Hampshire DOT recommendations regarding vegetation clearing, all-season safe site distance, and any other recommended traffic safety measures. P, all blasting activities shall comply with the vibration and air overpressure standards established under NH Admin Rule Safe C 1625.04 and any successor regulations. Q, all right. Appreciate it. Prior to the commencement of blasting, the applicant shall retain a licensed independent third-party blasting consultant acceptable to the city of Keene. The consultant shall, one, install seismographs at selected structures and locations within a 2-mile radius of the blast site with a focus on the closest residences, wells, and other sensitive receptors. 2, record vibration and air overpressure levels for the first blast event. 3, prepare and submit a certified monitoring report to the City of Keene Community Development Department within 14 days of the blast. This is R, right? If monitoring results indicate that vibration and air overpressure levels exceeded allowable state standards, the applicant shall, 1, immediately cease further blasting until corrective measures are proposed, reviewed, and approved by staff. Thank you so much. 2, conduct an additional round of third-party monitoring for the next scheduled blast at the applicant's expense. S, all seismograph records for subsequent blasts shall be retained by the blasting contractor for a minimum of 12 months and be made available to the city upon request. T, the applicant shall maintain in full force and effect a commercial general liability insurance policy with coverage specifically endorsed for blasting and excavation activities, including coverages for 1, damage to structures, wells, and other properties resulting from vibration, air overpressure, or fly rock. 2, contamination or degradation of groundwater or surface water attributable to the excavation or blasting operations. U, coverage shall extend to claims by all property owners located within a 2-mile radius of the blast site and shall also apply to any persons or property impacted by groundwater or surface water contamination within the affected watershed. V, the policy shall provide no less than $5 million combined single limit per occurrence and shall name the city of Keene as an additional insured. W, prior to, proof of insurance, including the blasting and environmental endorsements, shall be submitted to the Community Development Department prior to the issuance of the excavation permit and renewed annually. X, the applicant shall be responsible for ensuring that claims under this policy are processed and resolved promptly in the event of verified damage or contamination.
I can second that.
Second?
Second.
Sarah seconded,
I
okay.
think she did.
Thank you, Ms. Pizzani.
If we had 2 more, we'd get all the way to Z.
Okay.
Double A.
Any discussion? I mean, we had the discussion, I guess. So I think I'll call the vote. All those in favor of?
Clarifying, this is just to amend it. This isn't the final approval. This is just
Correct.
to
This
insert
is to
these.
amend
Yeah.
the motion. Yeah. So we're looking for approval to amend the motion that's on the table. All those in favor? Any opposed? Okay. motion is amended. Motion has already been read and seconded. So let's, I just want to go around the table and get a feel for where we stand. So, Ms. Fasani, I'll start with you this time.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So we've already talked about the regional impact, and I think that we've gone through the application with a fine-tooth comb, and we've added in the appropriate adjustments to be able, and conditions to be able to move forward with it. And as I reiterated with my nagging concerns and lay my head on the pillow at night, I feel confident that I can vote yes.
Mr. Engel?
I think this is still continues to be a difficult application. I appreciate all of the additional work that has been put into this to, add these additional, conditions, which I think will really help to mitigate some of the concerns. Not all of them. I think some of them are still standing. There's still the concern about noise and, the drop in property values. And some others, the historical site preservation, et cetera, things that maybe we might not be able to address. But I do think that these additional conditions do help to address some of the larger issues.
Mayor Khan?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, I think that we've heard from the public on several occasions. And I think that these additional conditions, along with the reports that the staff has collected from expert land analysts, yeah, I think we have a lot of evidence in front of us. I think we responded to them in both the motion that was with us in August and the additional amendments suggested this evening. So while there is regional impact of this, and I think we've tried to take that into account. And as we move forward, these conditions can be monitored, and the concerns of the public can continue to be evaluated by our staff and this board.
Ms. Mastrogiovanni?
I think this was a difficult subject, difficult for both sides. I appreciate all the planning that the applicant had to do, and I know that we need gravel to build things, and, the state knows we need that. I think the process was a difficult one. As far as the regional impact goes, it does have regional impact, and as a board, we need to vote on specific criteria, and that's what we're doing. I think the last meeting, a couple of things came up where half of the board, we were questionable. I think today, a lot of those subjects have been addressed, and I think that if we really, we've done our job. It's now, the job of the city to now follow up and make sure that everything that we put into place is followed up. The regional impact is a concern, but we just have to call it that, a concern. The region that it has already impacted, I have read about some of those impacts, and I do feel for those people. So I just hope that as a city, we, put a good plan into place and that the applicant follows that plan and everybody is happy. We get our gravel, we have no accidents, and none of our neighbors have broken, foundations or anything, or too much noise or any of that. So hopefully that can all be accomplished. I really appreciate all the work everyone put into this.
Councilor Remy?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I supported this in August. I still do. I think these conditions are great. I think they're help provide some comfort for folks that are nearby, and I think it'll they only make it better for the neighbors. These applications are always hard. I remember as a kid doing a gravel pit trying to go in Westmoreland, and it was one of the most controversial things they've had because you can't control where gravel is, right? And you can't control where the rocks necessarily are. So no matter what, it's hard, but I think we reached a good spot with this.
Mr. Cost?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, I also supported this at the last vote. I believe that the things that we control under the Land Development Code were addressed. I think these conditions that we read and added to make it even, to me, easier to continue to support, because I think that this does show that we're considering we're considering what may happen, not what will happen, but may happen. And so I think a lot of our concerns and other people's concerns are going to be addressed here. And the monitoring of it is something, that does have to happen, and I assume will. So I would vote to support it when it comes time.
Mr. Hafer?
Yes, thank you. Yeah, as you all know, I voted in favor of the permit at the last meeting. I feel our process was very thorough through that time. I took to heart the notes of us having the strongest permit process in the state. So as we go through that, or go through this process, that makes me feel good that we've brought experts to bear, made the applicant comply with their recommendations and observations. The city hired experts, hydrologists, et cetera, are fine with this. From my summary, they've brought up issues. The applicant has addressed those with revisions to the plan. With the addition of tonight's conditions, we find ourselves in an even stronger position of having maintained a high standard for this type of development, protecting our neighbors and our region. I think this process also shows the value of strong planning regulations and processes, and I think that is something that folks in the region should understand, that there's value to these things, and some issues that have been brought up in the press and other areas may not be an issue in other towns if other towns had as strong planning processes as the city of Keene does. So with that mentioned, I will end my comments and share my intention to vote yes.
Thank you. And for my part, yes, I reiterate what Mr. Hafer said regarding Keene standards for this type of permit. They are the strictest in the state, and I think we've learned as a board collectively a lot, and a staff, by the use of the consultant experts, that we may even have some areas that we can modify our code going forward, taking into some of these additional considerations that we've laid out for this application. So, having said that, I will call the vote. So, all those in favor? Any opposed? One opposed. Okay, the motion is passed.
Thank you guys very much. Anything further for tonight?
What?
Anything further for this one, or are we?
Yeah,
We've got another meeting
yeah, I know. I think we can go ahead. So, Ms. Brenner, any staff updates?
No, Mr. Chair, I think you can go ahead and adjourn if you're,
Well, I wanted to make one other point before
Okay.
we go on. Okay, I'll make it under new business. we all know that there are AI tools available, and they are time savers, but I would admonish you not to use any AI tools in reaching conclusions about materials that we get here. You can use it for research, but yeah, I would discourage us from using AI in collating or processing any of the materials that we are presented with. Okay. Point made. Upcoming dates of interest, the Joint Committee of the Planning Board and PLD, which will start immediately after we clear up here. Planning Board Steering Committee, September 16th, 12 p.m. Planning Board Site Visit, September 24th, 8 a.m., which will be confirmed depending on applications. And the planning, next meeting of this board is September 29th at 6:30 p.m. And with that, I will adjourn our meeting. Thank you very much.